Actually, we'll have to discuss more on the study of McIntyre because he said in his study, he notes that the cloth masks, which people wash and reuse, are also common in Asian countries. She says there's no evidence to show they have any benefits, and her research suggests and her research, according to that cloth mask says that it may be actually a breeding ground for any forms of pathogens. So meaning to say, so it's not really advisable or recommendable to use a cloth mask because according to research that is could serve maybe an actually a breeding ground for pathogens. Okay, so and also experts note that how you remove a mask. So this is how you are going to remove a mask, be it a surgical mask or an N95 respirator. So it's also important. If you touch the front mask when taking it off, you could end up in contaminating yourself. So for example, this is your mask. How to remove the mask in your the one that you're wearing. If you remove your mask using your touch it in front when taking it off from else here in anywhere else here, then it could end up in contaminating yourself. So therefore, in order to remove the mask, you have to get in the other lock sides of your air and hold it with that tip of your finger and then throw it away using this form. So do not touch anything in here. It's because it might some of the bacteria or any form of pathogens is resides in this mask, and when you're going to touch this, then it would transfer into your hand, and your hand hold up in your mouth or hold up in any part of your body, then you will end up in contaminating yourself. So it's better to just like this and throw it the garbage properly. Okay. But according to her research also, as for wearing a mask outdoors in public, Meredith Sexton, an assistant professor of medicine in in the Division of Infectious Diseases at Emory, Emory University, says there's no need if you're in the US or another country where the risks of catching the Wuhan. So again, I repeat, according to Marbeth Sexton, an assistant professor of medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases at Emory University, says that there's no need if you're in the US or another country where the risk of catching the Wuhan is there. And eventually, Sexton says wearing a surgical mask is a good idea, but if you have a respiratory illness and need to see the doctor, but that's a really so you won't infect other people. Otherwise, she says, don't rush out and buy a mask. Leave them for the people who need. So, because people nowadays are rushing, going to the market and buying masks. But according to the expert sciences, do not rush and send yourself to the market and rush in buying that mask. She said, leave them for the people who need them, like the healthcare workers and ill people, so as not to contribute to mask shortage. She says. And actually, some infectious disease experts have also suggested that wearing face mask may have some value if it keeps you from touching your face and nose. So that's the one advantage. So that's a common way germs get into our body. Says touching a doorknob someone sneeze on, and then perhaps inadvertently bringing your fingers into your eyes, nose, or mouth. But the Clarence Tam, according to him, a public health researcher at the National University of Singapore, notes that because wearing masks can be uncomfortable, so the discomfort might make you actually touch your face. Yes, touching your face more. So this could contaminate your fingers with any germs that might have attached themselves to the outside of the masks. And so this is another potential downside of wearing masks. If you see everyone around you wearing a mask, that also can be fairly alarming. That's according to Tom notes. That is why McIntyre agrees there's no need to run out and buy face masks if you're in a low risk country like in the US. But she says the calculation may be different for people in a place like there might be some value to it. So McIntyre says there's a lot of unknown about this infection. That's the big question mark, the big problem in there. Actually, observation studies found that wearing a surgical mask did provide healthcare workers some protections during the SARS epidemic. But McIntyre notes that those studies were not a randomized controlled trials, considered the gold standard in the research. Tam adds that the healthcare workers who were responding to SARS outbreak during that times were also using another protective measures. So, and regardless of where you are, there is something that all infectious disease experts I spoke with recommended everyone to do. Yes, spoke with everyone to do keep away from getting sick. Wash your hands frequently because hand washing for sure, according to Schaffner, constantly, frequently, all time, summer, winter, or whatever. And also, it is recommended by expert that and get your flu shot. It is a flu seasons after all, and it doesn't offer protections against Wuhan coronavirus. But here in the U.S. or in the Sexton says, or in other part of the country, like also in the Philippines, the flu remains the bigger risks to health. And so I hope that you learned a lot regarding with the mass informations and how we're going to wear it. And of course, guys, if you are those places that are really low risk of coronavirus, and do not risk yourself or no, hush yourself to buy a mask when it is not really necessary. Why? It's because leave it to the other people who really need it most, especially the healthcare worker. So, so as I said, we're going to make ourselves healthy and do not get sick, and of course, be vigilant of the issue around the world. So, thank you for watching, and bye bye.